Yo people, wagwan, welcome back to Ron's Tech Hub, and today I'm going to be looking at this MSI laptop. So the palm rest is plastic, the hinges here are plastic as well, and so is the top of the laptop, so the lid part here, and also the bottom part of the laptop. So even though you can see through and see some thermal heat pipes, this whole thing here is plastic. When I looked at the website, the MSI website and the Curry's website, I only found the black option, so I'm guessing it only comes in black. I haven't seen anything else so far. I find the hinge to be quite smooth and quite sturdy, so I can lift with one finger. That's just my thumb I'm using. When I get to the top, if I let go, it doesn't wobble too much and it doesn't wobble for too long. So I'll do that from the side as well. So again, I'll close it, open with one finger all the way. The base doesn't wobble at all. And when I let go at the top, it doesn't wobble that much and it doesn't wobble for that long. The weight is roughly 2.25 kilograms or roughly 5 pounds. I don't have any dimensions, so what I'll do, I'll quickly just measure it now. So from the side, I'd say roughly 2.5 centimeters. From the very top, roughly 36 centimeters. And going this way, it is roughly 26 centimeters. I would say quite thick, but not too wide and not too long. The screen is 15.6 inches. The side bezels, I measured it earlier, just the side bezels are 0.5 centimeters. The top bezel, so that's the part here that houses the webcam, that's roughly 1.25 centimeters. And the bottom part here, I didn't bother measuring it because it was so huge, so I can do that now. That's roughly 3 centimeters here at the bottom. And as you can see here, the screen goes back all the way and you can get that flat 180 on the desk. We have a 53.5 watt hour battery which is going to sit somewhere here, and that should give us roughly 5 hours of screen on time. This will be doing very lightweight stuff on this laptop. It is a 3-cell battery, a typical barrel plug, which gives us 200 watts of power. So this display is IPS technology. The resolution is full HD, so not 2K, not full HD plus. It is a 16:9 aspect ratio. There is no touchscreen, so you won't be able to touch anything on screen. The brightness only gets to 218 nits. This is according to Laptop Media website. Viewing angles seem fine to me. This is me directly in front of the laptop. Now this is me going to the side, going all the way. Viewing angles seem perfectly fine to me. I can still see everything on screen from this angle. There's a bit of glare from here because I'm using a light above my head. Next, we're onto the display. So this is a full HD display, as you can see there. This is not full HD plus. This is not 2K. It is a 16:9 aspect ratio, so the typical widescreen. The maximum brightness on here is only 238 nits according to the Laptop Media website. I know nothing about sRGB and that stuff. However, I do have the numbers. So it's 45% NTSC or 60% roughly sRGB. Again, from the Laptop Media website, response time isn't that great. It's 26 milliseconds. That's what they have. And the refresh rate, as you can see here, is 144 hertz. There is an anti-glaring coating over the screen. It's not perfect, but it does a really good job because above my head I have spotlights, and if I tilt this upwards, you can see one spotlight there, but it's not nearly as bright as it should be. I like the fact this is 144 hertz. I don't like the fact that this is only 1920 by 1080, so full HD. I do like the fact that this is 16:9. I personally prefer 16:9 because I'm doing a lot of videos. I do like the fact that even though that this is plastic, the hinges feel quite sturdy. It opens quite nicely. And I also don't like the fact that the bezels are so large. The side bezels I think are okay, but the top one especially, I know it houses a webcam, but it's a bit too thick for me, and the bottom one is just ridiculous. Look at that. That's, what did I say before, like 3 centimeters? Next we have keyboard and trackpad. On the website it says that this has roughly 1.7 millimeters of keyboard travel. I think MSI always has really good keyboards that feel really tactile. The buttons are really thick, the buttons are really nice, and they give good feedback. There is backlight on this keyboard, but to get to it, at the moment it's off, you have to press FN, so function, and also press F8 to turn it on. Level 4, level 3, level 2, level 1, and off. The numpad section on the right hand side I find very small. I don't think this was usable for me. However, I did only use this for about 3 or 4 days. If you're someone who's going to be using it every day, you will get used to it. The enter's in a weird place, the decimal point's in a weird place, the zero's in a weird place. I don't like the layout of it. And just to get you the size, it's roughly 4.5 centimeters across and about 9 centimeters down, so not the largest. For me, it's a no-go. We have a full function row at the top, but to get to it you have to use FN, so it's not a dedicated function row, it is integrated with other stuff as well. For example, as I mentioned earlier, to get to the keyboard brightness you have to do FN and F8 at the same time, and that will cycle you through all your options. This is pretty normal. The keys feel good, typing feels perfectly fine. The keys at the very top, so the function keys, feel lighter or softer than the normal keys. The numpad's not usable for me, but the main section of the keyboard is very nice. Next we have trackpad. We have a trackpad that's roughly 10.5 centimeters across by 6.5 centimeters high. It is multi-touch, so you can zoom in and it also has gestures. So if you're on Chrome, you can swipe right to go back one. We have a touch button, and we also have buttons at the very bottom of the screen. So you can do a left click on the left hand side, and you can also do a right click as well. I think it's fine. Personally, I would never use a touchpad for anything other than basic admin tasks. I would always get myself a mouse, but it is smooth and it is responsive. So if you need it for admin stuff, it's there, you can use it. I think for £1,000, MSI should have done a lot better. So we have an Intel Core i7 620H processor, and the base clock is 2.4 gigahertz and it boosts up to 4.9 gigahertz. We have a total of 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's only running at 5200 mega transfers per second. I'm not sure if we can get to both sticks because I don't have permission to open this. I can see through the case here the Wi-Fi card and the NVMe drive, so I'm guessing we can get to both sticks of RAM as well. This laptop has two graphics cards. The first is an Intel UHD Graphics. This is going to be used for basic stuff, browsing the web, maybe watching YouTube, editing a few documents. But there is also the NVIDIA GPU, and this is a RTX 4050. It does only have 6 gigabytes of RAM. However, I can vouch for the 1050 Ti, which I have in my Dell XPS 15, and if this is anything like it, video editing is not going to be an issue. I can even do 4K stuff on my 2018 1050 Ti. I do have to use proxy clips to get the best performance. However, it works. I will be running some benchmarks later, so I'm going to be doing F1 2013, I'm going to be doing Far Cry, I'll be doing the Puget benchmark for DaVinci Resolve. If I can log into my Steam account, I'll do the Black Myth Wukong one as well. Next, we're on to connectivity. On the left hand side of the laptop, we have one USB 3 and a USB 2. I'm not entirely sure why we're still using USB 2. However, on the right hand side, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, we have another USB 3, we have a USB-C, an HDMI, and an Ethernet port. For the wireless card, we have dual band Wi-Fi 6, and for Bluetooth, we have a Bluetooth 5.2. This laptop is very loud. You won't get a true reflection of that, but let me play this. One of the loudest laptops I've ever tested. The webcam is only 720p, so that's only basic HD quality. You don't have a physical hardware switch. However, if you press function and F6, it will turn the camera off, so it's just a software switch, nothing else. I think it's a good laptop. I think it's decent. I don't think it's worth £1,000 now in 2024. However, if you're someone like me coming from a Dell XPS 15, which only had a 1050 Ti, then this with a 4050 is going to be a massive upgrade. But again, for the price, this is basically £1,000 in 2024 December now. So I wouldn't be able to recommend this in December 2024. However, if you wait for sales, if you get this really cheap, then I would go for it. I think the only downside to this, NVIDIA does gaming very well, and I think NVIDIA thought that this would be a massive hit. However, I think for this price point, we should at least have a 4060, number one. For this price point, it shouldn't be this thick. I know it's aimed at people who are going to be using... The only reason I could justify it being this thick is simply because the heat pipes look so thick. That means the 4050 that's in here might get really good cooling, and because of that, video editing and light gaming might be very okay. Personally, I think these specs would do much better in a thin and light laptop, not something that's this bulky and this heavy. £5 is a bit heavy, and this, as I mentioned before, is quite a thick laptop. Really good for video editors if they want to have some grunt, but again, not for the casual gamer. You can get something similarly priced with a 4060, a 2K screen, and probably faster RAM as well. But saying all of that, I do like how rugged it is. I do like how thick the laptop feels, so it feels very sturdy. But if you're someone looking for a thin and light and thinking that this would be it, look somewhere else. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. As a gaming machine, this is not looking good so far. So this is running F1 23 but in windowed mode. I haven't tried to make it larger so far. However, this is not a good look. I'm going to quickly run the benchmark to see what values we get. Benchmark results are in, and unfortunately it only ran the game at 720p. Somehow the auto detect system on Forza Horizon 5 has detected that we should continue with Ultra, so I don't trust that. So I'm going to run another benchmark, a proper one, benchmark mode, and let it do its thing. Well, I guess it was right the first time, because it does say that I can use Ultra and I am getting 70 frames per second, so that's not too bad.